Hello and welcome to another episode of Industry Celebrities. My name is Kimberly Scott, and Industry Celebrities is a podcast where I interview industry professionals in any industry, and they discuss their passions with me, and I ask them, well, I'm not going to do it that way. I usually ask them advice to their younger self, but since my guest today, Mrs. Kelley VanHorn, has already been on this podcast, we're going to do a follow-up, and I've got some questions for her. She's got some questions for me because I did the FASTerWay to fat loss, and it started in January, and it was awesome. I wasn't perfect, but that's why I had Kelley to help me. So we're going to talk through that, but just to let you all know, I am now on Amazon Alexa. Yay! Yay! And all you have to do is, of course, enable the app within Amazon Alexa. I might have to get instructions correctly, but just by searching, you go, Alexa, play Kimberly Scott podcast.
Oh, cool.
I think that should work. But anyways, okay, so, and of course it's still on all the other places, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and I think there's 4 other places. But you can go to thatkimberly.com/combo and find out. So, okay, now that we got that out of the way, hi, Kelley.
Hi, Kimberly.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So yeah, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Yeah,
You're going to
absolutely.
ask me some questions and give some advice on some things that I could definitely be doing differently.
Right.
Because I never thought that I could ever do intermittent fasting.
Yes, I know.
But
a
I
lot of people
made
think.
it.
Yeah.
Janet Settle, shout out, would tell you that I was the almond cruncher in the morning. I had to immediately have almonds, you know, within 30 minutes of waking up, or breakfast, something. I had to eat breakfast within 30 minutes of waking up. And so for me, as a busy professional on the road all the time, like, there's no way I can do this fasting. And I did it.
So why did you think that when you got up that you had to have almonds or something?
Because I was hungry, like within 30 minutes of waking up, and because of another diet that I did that I had some success on, you know, it was also scientific and all this other stuff. It said that was the rule of 30 minutes once you wake up, but it was very, you eat this and you eat this on this day, you have so many on this day, you know, and it was high it was, you know, calorie, it wasn't cutting out everything, you could eat as much as you wanted, but there was no fasting, no intermittent fasting in there. So that's why, because I was so used to doing that. I'm 45 young. Yay. And
45 is the new 25.
It is.
That's right.
It is. So I had wanted I just want to stay in 8 to 9-ish. You know, I didn't want to go over a 10. I've never been a size 0 or 5 for that matter, even when I was young. You know, I've always been a big bone, thick woman. And I didn't get comfortable with that until I got into my 30s.
I don't even see you that way, but okay.
Okay. So anyways, when I tell people, and I'm sure when you tell people, oh, intermittent fasting, they automatically went, oh, what? And I would say, well, no, it means that for 8 hours, you get to eat within an 8-hour window, and then 16 hours, am I right? You should not eat. And you can make that window however you want to make it.
That's right. It has to work with your life.
Correct.
And I will say, you know, when you say that you get up in the morning and I was hungry, so I had to eat. The brain signal for hunger and dehydration is that sensation is the same. And so I know what you've learned is that when you wake up in the morning, you're actually not hungry, you're dehydrated, because we have gone so many hours without drinking any water. I know you drank 3 bottles of water this morning. She's hydrated.
I am very hydrated.
She's not hungry.
And so when I started the FASTerWay, which, by the way, the prep week was amazing, because leading into it did give me some angst because I was traveling. But when you told us, hey, this is just prep, that you just got to get through these things, you know, a couple of videos you need to watch, because I'm not a reader, you know, I got to listen to audio or video.
Okay.
And so you had all that for me, and then you had to take some pictures of yourself, which I never was like, oh my God, you know. So I put on
racking.
So I had my boyfriend take pictures of my body, you know, in a sports bra and shorts, and did my measurements, you know. But other than that, it was okay. That was pretty good, you know. Like leading up into it, it wasn't like just go straight in and that's all you got.
Right. That's too much.
Yes, it was very helpful. Of course, signing the waiver, you know, and you know, paying and everything else was all within that first, you know. The paying part was before you got into the first week, but signing the waiver, I might have been a little bit slow on everything, you know, but because she helps me. But my point is that I got it done within that first week, and actually I got it done. I had traveled the first 5 days, and so I did everything over the weekend.
Well, that's good to know. That's good for me to know, because that's one thing that I tell people all the time is try to make 20 to 30 minutes a day during that prep week to look at whatever video or be on the call that I'm hosting live, ask your questions, because I don't want people to get overwhelmed because all of these concepts are usually they're pretty new for my clients.
And the other thing that you did do and still do is, even though I couldn't make any of the calls, you still hit the record button and reposted it.
Absolutely.
For busy professionals like me, because, you know, it's at noon. Sometimes I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to make that call at 12 because I'm going to take my lunch break, but then a client would call. And so life happens, you know, and this was definitely a change of lifestyle that helped me, that I can still do it while, you know, life happens. So,
and that is the main point about it, right? Because it is, I mean, how many times have I heard somebody say that a diet, don't call it a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Yes.
But this is, I mean, I personally have done this for, I don't know, maybe 16 months.
Yeah. And the first 7 months you traveled, right?
That's right. I was in the apartment industry, traveling all the time, changing time zones, and it worked. I think the biggest challenge for me, and you can tell me if you thought the same, I thought the biggest challenge was being on a flight and being prepared to either break my fast or have the right snack. You don't want to get stuck on an airplane.
Oh yes, 3 hours. That was trains, planes, and automobiles when that happened.
That's right. That was you yesterday. So you got to be prepared.
Ooh, yeah, you do. But I have always been the person that carries snacks. Anybody that has ever, you know, been around me, like, they know that I have, you know, almonds, I have bars, I have aspirin, like I have Pepto-Bismol, and I even had Beth one time tell me, you know, somebody that's not a mom, I think even Amy Moy said it, for somebody who's not a mom, you should carry a lot of stuff. like I just like to be prepared,
it's just preparation.
I share, for, you know, sharing is caring. So I definitely prep that stuff and carry it in my backpack.
That's perfect.
Or, you know, whatever I have with me. So, and if I know it's going to be, like yesterday was a 6-hour travel day for me. So I did, before I got on the flight, get like a sandwich, a Jason's Deli sandwich, one of the ones that you recommended on your list of foods. You do prep, you know, having baggies and almonds, and
which is easy and minimal, right?
Correct.
I mean,
absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah, it is. If you're really committed to it, or if you have all the money in the world, then go buy it in the airport if you'd like.
That's true. You can definitely find things in the airport that work.
Yes.
To me,
there are Kind bars in the airport now.
That's right.
There are those fruit
RX bars.
RX bars, way overpriced.
Very overpriced. Everything in the airport, but they are there.
Yeah. You can get bottled water. You can get all these things in the airport if you really don't want to carry it with you.
True, absolutely.
Especially now, but way easier. And all the restaurants all had something. Like I had a quinoa salad in one restaurant. At the train station, there was plenty of alternative foods. So it's much easier it is today than it even was when you did it when you first started. Would you say?
Right. Yeah, I think there are definitely more and more great food choices everywhere.
Yes,
everywhere. So it does make it easier.
Yeah.
And it just takes a few minutes to prepare.
Yeah, correct. So you either prepare or, you know, pay more for
at the airport.
At the airport,
right?
Or wherever you're at, or on the road, whatever. Even if you are a person who's in their car all the time doing sales, same thing. You know, you can still find food.
Exactly. So, and that is the other thing. Before I was traveling to the central region, I traveled and drove all over Atlanta. And so either you can make it at home and pack it and take it in the car, or eat out, because there are a gazillion
things.
There's no excuse to not be able to make good choices at a fast food restaurant or a sit-down restaurant.
Absolutely.
There's so many great choices.
Yeah. And it allows enough of the cheat. Like you give yourselves, you know, we're allowed cheat days. And I remember I was in the midst of moving. I started, and then 2 weeks later I was moving. And this one day, it was probably a 2-day move, that I called you in a panic because I was like, I had to eat something because I was going to be, you know, running back and forth, up and down. And I knew pickles and water were not going to cut it, which we'll go through here in a second. But you said, no. But I did go to Chipotle. I just didn't fast that morning, but I went to Chipotle. Anything that I put in my mouth was somewhat on that list of
And that's a great choice.
All those things. I just wasn't able to fast that day,
And that's fine.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of it.
Yes, I felt guilty, but then when I talked to you, you're like, don't worry about it. It's okay. Like it's like it.
Life happens.
Yeah, life happens, and it's okay.
Sometimes you just can't do
Yes, or you don't have to start all over again. See, with the diet that I had done, when you messed up, you had to start all the way from the beginning. That's the thing about that other one. Even though it was very scientific like this, if you messed up, you had to start all the way from the beginning because it was a 31-day
no was it Whole 30? Were you doing Whole 30?
It was called fast metabolism.
Oh, okay. I don't know about that one, but Whole 30 is kind of the same thing. If you eat one of the foods that is restricted, that you're pulling out of your diet for that 30 days, then you're supposed to start over. But I think that is one of the things that, and we talk about progress over perfection in the FASTerWay. Yes. And I think that's one of the things that has been really beneficial for me and my clients. It's so eye-opening that I get feedback on all the time, is that in the past, you feel like you have to be perfect.
Yes.
And then when you're not, then you start, or I would start eating everything in the pantry.
Yes.
Well, I already fell off the wagon.
Yes.
Well, there's really no wagon to fall off in the FASTerWay. It's
correct.
Maybe I messed up, but I'm going to make a better choice in a few minutes. And I have messed this thing up a million ways to Sunday, and it still works.
Yes.
But you have to put it into practice.
Yes.
For the long term and continue seeing those results.
Yes. Well, within the first week, because of all the water I was drinking, I definitely felt constipation. Might be an issue in life, for some and me. So being regular was great, and I just felt like I could feel the energy coming, like it was happening. Like I do sleep well, but maybe only 6 hours, or sometimes only sleep 3 hours solid. But like this was giving me a solid 6 to 7 hours. I don't want to usually sleep more than that just because I just feel groggy, just me as an individual.
So for you, 7 hours is perfect.
Yeah.
That's great.
6.5 to 7 is perfect for me. But I was getting solid sleep. I wasn't waking up in the middle of the night, which was definitely something that I had issues with. So I can say that I saw that in the first 3 weeks before, something that, happened, in my life that I couldn't change because I was supporting someone else through it. That's when I fell off that whole week. But then starting it up again wasn't a big deal, And just through talking to you made it better because, I could still check in on Facebook. I could still, check in with you via email or text or however the communication was that day. So that made me feel better. But I was still conscious of eating the right things, just not fasting, And the thing I did love about the fast is that I could have water. There were things that you give as recommendations that I bought. You don't have to, but I bought them because I want to try them. And then pickles. I mean, the fact that I could eat pickles until, like, if I got hungry. And why is pickles? Why is that? Why is pickles?
It's so funny because I always say Vlasic dill pickles. It's because there is no fiber. If you look at it, and obviously you don't want to eat a lot of them. I would just, when I was at the state, when I was first starting this, I would eat pickles. I don't need them anymore because I'm used to this, but I would just eat a few. And if you look at the label, there's no fiber. So if you eat anything with fiber while you're fasting, that's going to cause you to go into digestive mode. So you're in one of two states. Your body is always in one of two states. So there's fed or fasted.
Okay.
And so no fiber, and you want absolutely no sugar.
Okay.
Because sugar will cause you to release insulin, and that will break your fast as well.
Okay, got it.
And so that's why the dill pickles. And some dill pickles, some of them have sugar, and some, if you look at them, I think have a little bit of fiber.
I should go back and look at the other ones. I did get the classic ones, the baby ones, and they had nothing.
Yeah, that's fine.
But then I got these other bigger ones for the second, week after I ran out the first that I haven't broken into. But yeah.
And eventually you won't even need to do that. Okay. So I don't eat that anymore. I'll just continue. If I start feeling hungry, even like now, I feel a little bit hungry, it's because I need more water.
Okay.
And so
drinking water.
Also, it's very, very mental. And I don't think you did the 24-hour fast in week 5.
Yeah.
And it's always optional, but the 24-hour fast it's all mental, because at noon I'll always feel hungry. Well, that's because that's when I
usually
break my fast. I'm not really in need of food.
Yeah. If I never want to do the 24-hour, is it okay?
You don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the 24-hour fast is just giving you extra time for your body to burn fat.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, when you are in a fasted state, it's the only time your body can heal at a cellular level.
Okay.
So what happens is there's this process called autophagy. It means self-killing. It just means that your body can start working on eliminating and moving out cells within your body that are not that healthy.
Okay.
And that's part of, when you're looking at fasting to help cure cancers and things like that, then that's a very specific medical process, and you would have to go to a very specific doctor to do that. But that's part of why that works, is because your body is able to move out those cells that are unhealthy.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So any extra time that you can have to fast is going to help you burn fat, and it's going to help you move out those cells. But no, you don't ever have to do
the 124.
16-8 is fine.
16-8 fast. Okay.
Yeah.
With pickles, eventually no pickles, but coffee, water. So you do give a list of things to your team, and I appreciated all of them. Everything from places to eat out, things as alternatives to if you have to have creamer. I loved your little shopping days at Costco; those are awesome.
Oh, Insta stories.
Yeah, your Insta stories. So follow her on Instagram if you're not sure.
That's
do
right.
that now.
Kelley VanHorn.
Yes. Kelley VanHorn Wellness. And yeah, so you give a lot of tool support. You're there, whenever people need you, except for, of course, after 9 o'clock, because you turn on your phone.
Do not disturb.
Do not disturb,
That's
because she
right.
needs her sleep. I get that.
I need my sleep. I need a break.
I'm usually asleep by that time, so I don't hear it, so it doesn't matter.
Oh,
but at 5 in the morning.
It's usually family texting me late, and I'm going, why are you texting me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But all those things helped. They absolutely
Good.
made me feel that I could do it. I'm going to continue. I'm going to do a second round. I feel better doing it again because I don't feel like I failed. I might not have lost all these inches. I didn't feel like I was bulging out of my clothing. I felt the energy effects and the internal effects of my body. Maybe even some of the skin effects. I also went to the dermatologist at the same time. So I don't know if that has to do with some of the things I'm eating to clear up my skin, but we'll find out. Because when I stop going to the dermatologist and I'm still doing this, then I'll know.
There you go. But you will lose inches. So, and the thing is, for you had a lot going on. So I could not check your macronutrients.
Yes.
And that's just proteins, carbs, and fats.
Okay.
And so, as you know, every client has certain goals. You have to eat.
Yes.
Your body's not going to burn fat if you're not eating enough fuel.
Yeah.
And so once you start consistently practicing that intermittent fasting and you are hitting your macronutrient goals, that's when you're going to see that happen. But it's not going to happen with 2 weeks of it. You were traveling.
Really 3,
and then I need to be able
to
see that too, to give you the feedback to let you know where you need to make the adjustments.
Okay.
But it isn't the tools, the eating out suggestions, and the shopping list. I want you to see what are good choices. And you don't have to eat what I tell you to eat. I want you to eat what you like. So I'm not going to say you have to eat chicken, broccoli, and cauliflower if you don't like those.
Yeah.
But you can eat steak, zucchini, and Brussels sprouts if you like that. Or you can also work in, as you know, the alcohol or desserts.
Let's talk alcohol.
Let's talk about
booze. In the,
somebody in the apartment industry may be watching this and may need to know about the booze.
The booze.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, we all love the glass of wine. For me, it's tequila and craft beer, which cider is gluten-free.
Gluten-free, yeah.
Love it.
That's right.
And tequila, for me, are my things that I like. So if I was going to have a craft beer, I just needed to make sure that, it fit into my day. But it was more it was more tequila and the ciders that I would go to than I would unless I was trying something new or really, really wanted this. I'm still learning. So Kolsch beers, Love Street, and it's made by Carbach, but shout out to them. But
I don't know anything about it.
It's okay. So ciders Austin East ciders are my favorite. They have 16 different flavors.
I like ciders
Yes,
too.
and they didn't have, like, they were gluten-free and they had less in the, we'll go over the macro micro because I have a couple questions on that. But the tequila, because I'm a straight tequila drinker anyways, I just had to make sure that
it fits in your macros. Right.
Correct.
Right.
So, like, I think you said it was like 96 calories, or I can't remember what the calorie.
Yeah.
You broke it
and then
down.
you convert it anyway. That's
it's a whole other.
It's really not
episode.
that hard.
Yeah,
it's just
not.
you have to do it one time and get past it. But yeah, so it just needs to fit in your macros. And what I would do when I would travel to, I was always in Texas, usually in Dallas, which I love. So I would just, obviously we have our day, our treat day. You know, if you're doing the workouts and you're doing leg day, that's a huge muscle group, and that's a great day if you're gonna indulge. That's the day you do it. But I would have dinners and drinks with my clients during the week, and that wasn't a cheat day. And so I would just make it fit into my goals. And you're still going to get results if you do that. But it's obviously better if you're eating whole foods because your body is nourished. You're going to feel
not
fuller,
Whole
longer.
Foods, the grocery store.
Not the grocery store.
Just whole.
If it came from the ground or it has a mother.
If it came from the ground or has a mother. Keywords.
There you go. Not the groceries. This is
not
a commercial for Whole Foods.
Yeah, and not processed. Correct.
So, yeah, so you just have to make it fit. And then, of course, with alcohol, you really don't want to have more than a couple of drinks because at that point, your body's so focused on processing that toxin through your liver that it can't burn fat.
Yeah.
So,
you
know what? If you are where you want to be with your body, have at it.
Yeah,
but if you're not, which most people aren't, and if they're coming into this program, they're always coming into the program to shed inches, to shed fat. And obviously they figure out there's a lot more to it, a lot more benefits than just that.
Yeah.
But you should definitely stay committed to that while you're trying to achieve your goals because otherwise
it doesn't work.
You're not going to
But you can incorporate it back in, and on your cheat days, if that's what you want to do, that's what you do. It's just being mindful of it.
Absolutely.
I found that I could go to sleep easier. I didn't necessarily need that glass of tequila or wine or whatever, craft beer, because I was ready to go to sleep. But at the same time, if I wanted it, I could have one with my meal and cutting that back.
And you could have the beer, like you were saying, it has gluten, so we're primarily staying gluten dairy free.
Yeah.
And that's just because so many people have sensitivities to gluten and or dairy, and they don't know it. And they don't even have necessarily an outward reaction that they can notice. So when you're cleaning up the way that you're eating, you can tell, okay, that came from nuts, or that came from dairy, or I didn't think I had any sensitivity, but dairy makes me very puffy, inflamed, bloated.
Yeah.
I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
So I really try to stay, like I chose to break my fast early today. I had almond milk from the coffee place, has junk in it that breaks your fast.
Okay.
So I had that this morning, and I switched to almond milk because I know if I drink dairy, but for my clients when they're having that treat day, if they still want to have a treat that has gluten or dairy, they should go ahead and do that because their system is going to be clean enough that they're going to start noticing that maybe they had digestive issues from it, or maybe they were bloated, and that encourages them to keep it to a minimum. That's right.
So I give it 2 thumbs up. I highly recommend you checking out KelleyVanHorn.com with a EY, and following her on Instagram, Kelley VanHorn Wellness, Instagram. And where else can they find you?
I'm on Facebook, and they can look at Kelley VanHorn Wellness, or really it's better to look at Kelley Knox VanHorn, which is my personal page. I do put a lot of things on there as well.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you sitting down with me today.
Thank you.